Week we will be doing engineering design number 2. This is week 5 of our course, and we're going to be doing paper column architecture. I am Miss Acevedo. I am with USC Young Scientists Program, and I'm going to be taking you through this activity. So let's jump into it. Today you will be able to conduct an experiment to determine the best shape for holding a stack of books. So we're going to be making paper columns today, and we're going to stack books on top of them and see which one is the strongest. So we're going to think about this big question. How do buildings stand tall without tipping over? Have you ever thought about that? How do buildings stand tall without tipping over? You can start your sentence by saying buildings stand tall because. How do buildings stand tall? Let's now jump into our task. Today, you will be drawing your own building, but before you draw, you will need to test which shape of column is the strongest shape to hold up your building. So what is a column? Well, a column is a pillar that can be made out of stone, wood, or metal and is used to help a building stand tall. So if you've ever seen a very tall building, you will see a pillar. It looks like this, it looks like this, and it looks like this. A pillar is what helps keep a building standing tall and strong. It is a column. It is a column. So now it's time to build your own columns. The materials you're going to need are a piece of paper. You're going to need 3 pieces of paper actually, because you're going to be making 1, 2, 3 columns, and you're going to need tape to tape that paper together. So you will be making 3 column shapes: a circle, triangle, and square. So let's go ahead and watch me create some shapes, some paper column shapes. Welcome to our first engineering design activities. We're learning how to create and build things for this unit, but we are going to be exploring first how to build and what shapes we need to build. So today, to get started, you need 3 pieces of paper. I have 1, 2, 3, and some tape. Mine are different colors, but you can use any color paper you want. You can use plain white paper. My paper is a little bit thicker, and that's my preference, but you can use whatever paper you have next to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make 3 shapes out of these papers. The first shape that I'm going to make is a circle shape, because we're going to be making 3 different columns, and the columns we're going to make are a circle shape, a square shape, and a triangle shape. The first paper column I'm going to make is circle. So I'm going to take some tape and I'm going to roll up my paper column, kind of like a toilet paper roll, and I'm just going to put some tape. Step 1, step 2. I use a little too much tape, but that's okay. Just try to use just a small piece. It works. So there's my first column, and you can see that it is a circle. Nice. Now I'm going to do my next column. My next column is a triangle, and I know that a triangle has 3 sides and 3 shapes, or 3 sides and 3 corners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just fold my paper in 3. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to put it together. There you go. You can see that. And I'm going to add some tape to connect it. Here we go. 1 piece of tape, 2 pieces of tape. There we go. And then I'm going to add another piece of tape here to connect it, and I'm going to add a last piece of tape to connect it. So now I have built my triangle column. So I see a triangle, I see a circle, and the last one I'm going to build is a square. Now I know a square has 4 sides and 4 corners, so I need to fold my paper into 4. I fold it in half 1 time, and then I'm going to fold it in half again, just like that. Once I take it out, I will go ahead and I will try to make it into a square, just like that. I'm going to take tape and go ahead and connect it on this open side. So I'm going to take 1 piece of tape. I'm going to be taking that piece of tape and connecting it here. I'm going to take another piece of tape. I think 3 pieces is a good amount. There we go, and I have my last piece of tape right here. There we go. So I have a square, a circle, and a triangle. So what you're going to do next is you're going to build your own paper columns, and you're going to build all 3 shapes. 1, 2, 3. Best of luck, and I can't wait to see how your paper columns come out, and then we are going to test them. Hello. Okay, so now it's your turn to try. It says, now you try. You will create 3 column shapes, a circle, a triangle, and a square. So go ahead and pause this video, create your shapes, and then when you're ready, press play, and we can keep going. So now it's time to experiment. Now that you have your 3 shapes, you will experiment to find out which paper column is the strongest. So test. You will stack books on each paper column to see how strong they are. You will use books to measure the strength, how strong each column is. So let's take a look at my experiment and see what I found. So before we take a look at my experiment, we do need to look at our criteria, the rule that needs to be followed, and that is the column that can carry the most small books will be the strongest shape. So before we jump into my experiment, I want you to make a prediction. A prediction is what you think will happen next. Which column do you think will be the strongest and why? You can start your sentence with, I think the square, triangle, or circle will be the strongest because. And you can tell me, why do you think that shape is going to be the strongest and why? Now that you have your prediction, let's go ahead and check out which one ended up being the strongest shape. And this is how we're going to test how strong each shape is. This is called my column test recording sheet. It says which paper column is the strongest. So what we're going to do is we're going to stack small books on top of each column. Then we're going to record, that means write down how many books we stacked before it fell over. The column that can carry the most small books is the strongest shape. So we have our circle column, our square column, and our triangle column. And I'm going to write down my circle column can hold, and I'm going to write the number of small books. I'm going to do the same for my square column and my triangle column, and then I'm going to circle the strongest column below. So I'm going to keep going and I'm going to test. Here we go. Hello, my kinder friends. So what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be testing out our paper column. So you need to have your circle paper column, you need to have your triangle paper column, and you need to have your square paper column. Another material you're going to need is you're going to need some small books because we're going to be testing the paper columns and we're going to see which column can hold the most small books once you stack them on top. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start with my triangle paper column and I'm going to count every single time I add a book. Okay, and I'm going to see how strong my paper column is. I'm going to go and start adding. That's 1 book. Whoa! Let's try that again and I'm going to go a little bit slower. This is 1 book. 2 books, 3 books, 4 books, 5 books, 6 books, 7 books, 8 books. Wow, this is strong. 9 books, 10 books, 11 books. Whoa, 11 books for my triangle column. Now, I'm going to remember that because I'm going to have to record it in a moment, but I remember that my triangle holds 11 books. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start all over, and this time I'm going to check out my square column, and I'm going to see how many books my square column can hold. So let's go ahead and get started, and I'm just going to start counting again. 1, 2, whoa, it's already tipping. 3, 4, there we go, 4, 5, 6, nice, 7, Gonna keep going. Here's 8. Whoa! 8 books for my square column. 8 books for my square column. So I had 11 for my triangle column. It's a little crooked now and a little smushed, but that's okay. I have my square column that's a little smushed now too. The last column we're gonna try out is my circular column. So let's see how many our circle column can hold. We need to beat 11 because that's how many the triangle held. So I'm gonna start stacking. It's a little crooked. I hope that's okay. Let's try it this way. Uh-oh. If your column is a little crooked, you're gonna have to fix it because then it's not gonna hold any books at all, and that's not a fair test. So I'm just gonna take off a little bit of my tape, and I'm just gonna fix it to make sure it's perfect. There we go. That's nice and flat. So I'm gonna go ahead and move it like that. Now it stands and it's flat. So now I'm gonna count. 1, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and it is doing that all by itself. 11, 12, let's keep going, 13, 14, wow, 15, 16, I only have 2 more books left, 17, 18. I have 18 books on here. I don't know if you can see me, but I have 18 books on here, and it can still keep holding some more. So it looks like I had 11 books for the triangle, 8 books for the square, and I'm at 18 books for the circular one, for the circular paper column. So it looks like our circular paper column is the strongest. It did hold the most amount of books. I want you to try this at your home, find some small books, and start stacking and see if you got the same result that I did. Did your circular column hold the most? Yes or no? Go ahead and try that out. So excited for you to try it out, and can't wait to ask you some questions about our experiment. Okay, so here is my results. I had my circle column can hold 18 small books, my square column can hold 8 small books, and my triangle column can hold 11 small books. How many books did each shaped column hold? I recorded right here on the line, and if you have this paper at home that came with this video, you can go ahead and write how many books you were able to stack on each column. Now, which shape is the strongest and why? So looking at all of these numbers here, I know that my circle column held 18 books, and 18 is the largest number here, so the circle is the strongest shape. So there it is, the circle column is the strongest right here, and my circle column looked like a roll of toilet paper, so I put that picture there. So buildings and columns. Many real buildings use circle columns. Circle columns help buildings stand nice and strong. And I put the arrows here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 arrows here so you can see the 6 circular columns that we can see with this real life building. So it is true that many buildings use circle columns to stand tall. Here's some pictures of real buildings that use circle columns. I see so many here. Wow, this is a strong building. I'm going to go ahead and take us through some more strong buildings with circular columns. Here we go. Wow. Look at those. I see 4 circular columns there. Wow, I see many more circular columns in this picture, and in this picture, and in this picture. There's many, many buildings around the world that have circular columns. So why was the circle column the strongest? Well, the circle shape here held the most books, and That's because this shape here, the circle, it doesn't have any corners or edges like a triangle or a square does. When there are no edges or corners, it means that the weight, which is the heaviness of the buildings or the books that we stacked on top, would be equally shared on the whole column, making it strong. So right here, this shape had all its weight across the circle, so it didn't get weak on any sides. So why is the square and triangle shape weaker? Well, squares and triangles, they have edges. You see them here. 1, 2, 3, 4 edges on the square, and 1, 2, 3, 3 edges on the circle. On the triangle. You see those edges and corners, and this means that the columns do not carry the weight equally because some parts can't carry the weight. These corners are so weak that they can't carry that weight. So now it's time for you to show your learning. I want you to design and draw a building with columns, just like this image here. You can draw it on a piece of paper. You're going to need some paper, a pencil, and some crayons to decorate your drawing, and then go ahead and share it with family and friends. So this is how you're going to show your learning today. You're going to draw a picture. And before we go, we're going to go ahead and think about and talk about our scientist of the week. Our scientist of the week is Fazlur Rahman Khan. He is or was a Bangladeshi-American structural engineer and architect. That means he focuses on creating and designing buildings. He's important because he helped influence the structural systems for skyscrapers. Skyscrapers are really, really tall buildings, and many people call him the Einstein of structural engineering for high-rise buildings because he helped discover that the steel frame was the strongest and perfect for skyscrapers. So if you've ever passed a skyscraper and see that it's made of steel on the outside and it has the steel frame, that is because it's a strong building, and he is someone that discovered that. So many, many engineers use his designs today. I want you to go ahead and try out this experiment. Thank you so much for being with us today, and I cannot wait for you to learn some more next time. Thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon, evening, or morning whenever you're watching this. Goodbye.